giving them power.
But how can
So
you give?
so it's empowering them to express themselves. So that is to show their own creativity in some way and to tinker with technology. So it's also it's empowering them to not just buy the technology and use it, but to
Fiddle.
open it up and change it or build it yourself. So that's the sense that they mean empowering. Um, yeah, blurring the lines between hobbyist and innovator. I personally don't see a lot of innovation coming out of the maker movement. I still think a lot of innovation is happening in big labs or big companies, but I certainly think that it is a way that people can get skills that are beyond like hobby skills.
Yeah, and also you
With things like coding, for example.
with that kind of movement too.
I am aware of some people who've been using those single board computers to create like very simple decentralized infrastructure for things like research. So, it's very expensive to get a very powerful computer, but if you get lots of little computers and think about how they can each break up parts of a task. So I think that maybe there's some interesting space there. Um, but yeah, also don't really think it's that there's a lot of innovation happening in the Raspberry Pi
Yeah, exactly. I work with
space.
all of them. I work with all of them. Arduino, Raspberry Pi. Yeah.
So you've used them, and you're probably using them to do research, right?
Yeah,
So
and it didn't work well, and then we changed to another thing. Yeah, for research.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Um, so I don't think it's the innovation is happening among hobbyists. I think it's happening among PhD students if they're using, and then among researchers who are looking for ways to do things cheaply or differently.
And also, but anyway, so Adam here also he said that maker spaces.
Mm,
Why he said maker spaces? Because he said at the beginning maker movement. I don't know. Again,
mm.
maker spaces. Is it something that it created by itself? This word.
So it is a relatively new term. Um, like that combination of maker and space. Um, but it's really just it's a space. It's like a lab, right? But it's not as formal. It's like a design studio.
So where is the maker spaces in Sydney, for example? Because
Well, I
I
know
think
I
they
know that
exist worldwide.
I know that the city of Sydney has
Some of them, yeah.
some of them. Yeah. They often put them in libraries. So like there's a maker space, and in that space they run workshops at the Darling
3D printing,
Square
yeah.
library. Yeah. So you could print your own components there and then put something together on the spot.
Yeah, everyone has 4 hour allocation for printing. Yeah, I know that one. And also
Mm.
here, do you know why he used, yeah, maker space provide shared workspace. I understand this one. But
Mm.
why, and also, can you read the rest here? Democratizing access. What does it mean here?
Democratizing access means that it's no longer like access to certain kinds of technology is no longer just something that
Rich.
the rich or that the specialized are allowed to do. They're saying that if these spaces are everywhere, then like ordinary people can play with robots if they want to, or ordinary people can create, particular kinds of
Perfect, yeah.
tools,
Yeah.
or learn skills that might otherwise have been specialized. I think that democratizing process is also about sharing those skills. That is, if you had time and money, you could find ways of learning those skills. But now there are spaces which are where people share those skills.
And also, when we say that thinkers, what does it mean?
Mm.
It's people they use their hands for tools or what?
It means people who like open things up to see how they work, or maybe to try and make them better. So I think tinkering with a machine or a tool might be a way of learning about it, but also potentially improving it. Like
So
even down to I know that people will do like they'll like combine bits of hardware and solder it together and
so as you said, it should be by hand because when I search Tinker, let me show you
yeah.
something. Tinker, it says that where is that? No, Tinker. It is not this one. I think. Where is that? I don't know where is that.
Yeah, so it's someone who can who knows how things work in a practical way, and you're right, it implies they can do it with their own hands. So it is very much it's kind of like um, to be an engineer is to work at an abstract level of understanding how the um, an engine or a system works. A tinker is someone who comes at it more from the direction of working with your hands and maybe gradually building up an understanding.
Perfect. And also, Adam, can you explain about this one? Why collaborating is correct?
Mm. Collaborating on, yeah, so working together on open source medical equipment. Um,
We don't have developing on.
Not usually. You
Oh,
could say developing open source medical equipment, but part of the point here is that people don't just work on their own personal things, they also work together on certain things.
perfect. Yeah, I got it.
Mm.